So, quick note before we begin from Corey Dum Dum Baker.
Wait, are you recording? Let's just check.
Yeah, lights on.
Lights on. So
Lights
we're good.
on.
We're recording now.
You might think that this is all part of a long-standing, hilarious practical joke, but it's not. This idiot decided to not hit record the way he should have, and the first couple bits of this podcast are not optimal audio quality. So
Audio taken from another source.
yeah, if that is bothersome to you, I apologize sincerely. I'm sorry for that, but it's a great show.
It
You
is.
should definitely check it out. We've
Yes.
recorded this after the fact, so
Yeah.
we make sure that we have something to explain.
I do feel
Subpar
like
audio up front.
I feel like we need to, like airline pilots. I feel like we need to start getting a checklist.
Yeah,
Just
I think
ahead of
I think that's because when I'm on set, I never do this.
Yeah.
because there's like a
It's
it's
like
like
you either
sound
speed?
speeding. I'm just like, yep,
got it. Yep, it's up. All right.
it's on. But yeah, so apologies ahead of time. Enjoy the show.
Thanks.
We were going to do this podcast live in Mexico City, but the podcast field was just unacceptable. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 241. Better late than never of the O The Anthem podcast.
It's almost like we've been sitting here in holding pattern for a little while.
Yes, almost like we've been here for an hour and a half, waiting to start, waiting for the apartment to clear out, or the studio to clear
Yes.
out. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us for episode 241. If you want more O The Anthem, you can find us at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, you're watching right now live at facebook.com/O The Anthem. Make sure you hit that notification bell so it lets you know when we go live, and you can join us for the show, where you can comment in the comments section or text the listener line at 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595.
How the fuck was he open?
Corey's, of course, watching the Monday Night Football game as we record this. But you can text or call that number at any time during the week, whether you are listening to the show live or it's recording on your podcatcher of choice.
Yes. Much to get into this week.
Yes. So let's just jump right in.
We're talking about Monday night right now. Why don't we get into some more sports-related stuff?
Yeah.
Sportsball.
So anyway,
Yes. The Ravens played a game yesterday, and for a refreshing change of pace, Joe Flacco was not part of it.
hey,
Did you hear about this?
I did.
Are you keen to this news?
I did. I did not watch the game because you were working, so I was not going to get up at 9 a.m. to go watch football.
And I was not watching the game because I was working.
Yes, yeah. For a refreshing change of pace on both accounts. Yeah, I heard Lamar Jackson played,
Yes,
and he did an okay job.
he did an admirable job. It's he ended up having 27 rushes for 117 yards.
Whoa, wait, the quarterback?
Yeah,
That's not something we hear very often.
that's running back numbers, right?
Yeah,
That's 27 rushes. That's more than I think any running back on the Ravens has had this entire season.
yeah, probably the most since anyone whose last name wasn't Rice.
Well, 1970 was the last time a quarterback had that many yards in a game.
Right, rushing yards.
Yeah.
In 1970, that would not be the Baltimore Ravens.
No,
What team was that?
I don't know. I didn't get the other part of that stat. I didn't
Okay.
figure out who the person was that
Yes.
was responsible for that.
Certainly was not the Ravens, though. That's for sure. That's for
It
sure.
wouldn't have been Joe Flacco. It wouldn't
No.
have been Kyle Bowler.
No.
It wouldn't have been
Vinny Testaverde?
Stony Case.
Yes. So that's strange.
Yes, I'm going to say this, though. I watched highlights of the game, and Lamar Jackson highlights in particular.
Yeah.
It's very nice to have a quarterback who can run.
Yes.
There were a couple times where it looked like it was a sure, no doubt about it, sack, and Lamar was able to scramble out of the pocket. And on one of these, like, it looked like he was dead to rights, like 10 yards back, and then figured out some sort of way to get like plus 1 or 2 yards, which is always beneficial.
Yep.
I will say this though, I think that the hype train on Lamar Jackson is a little bit much. Lamar, having to throw the ball is going to be part of Lamar's game plan. But
Yeah.
I don't imagine that he's going to do as well.
Here's the
And
question.
I think that it, as infuriating as the Joe Flacco offense is,
Right.
I think he gives us the better chance to win.
Which is better,
Right now.
checking down to the running back, or running for it.
Well, I mean, I think what we've maintained is that like when the Ravens offense looks really good, then Joe looks really good in it.
Yeah, when's the last time that happened?
I mean, earlier this season there was some good offensive games, but the problem is that when the game plan that comes in is so terrible, then Joe looks terrible with it.
Yeah.
This game, maybe it was the excitement of having Lamar Jackson, or maybe it was just like, they had a conversation before this game started, and it's like, he really can't throw the ball that much. Like, we have to limit the amount of times that he tries to throw the ball down the field. It's not going to, in the end, it's not going to, you can't run for 100 plus yards as a quarterback every single game. You're just going to get annihilated.
Part of me says, though, that if Marty is calling the same game for Lamar Jackson that he's calling for Joe Flacco, that Lamar, instead of checking down, is just running for it.
Yes.
So when it's not there, when we have somebody bad calling the plays, and the plays are not developing downfield, and Joe would typically just dump it off, and Lamar is running for it, this is not so different. This is just a different response to the same stimuli, if you would.
I don't know. If Joe is healthy next week, I think he should still play. That's the take that nobody is going to like to hear.
Yeah.
Because I like Lamar Jackson. I was really excited watching his highlights, but I think that he's just not quite there yet. And it's like one of those, when you have a young quarterback like this, especially someone who looks like they're having trouble sort of with the passing side, like breaking down the coverage and stuff like that, it doesn't usually help to throw them in like into the wood,
You know who else looks like they have trouble breaking down the coverage downfield?
Joe Flacco.
The 12-year veteran Joseph Flacco, who's our quarterback. I don't know.
I think he has another first name as a middle name. I think it's like Joseph Michael Flacco or something.
Of course it is. Of course. All I'm saying is, listen, you're not going to do any worse. Maybe we should let Joe play just to avoid damage to this young quarterback. Maybe that's something that we do.
Also, it seems when quarterbacks get some time to develop, it's better for them.
Yes.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers would be the same guy he is today if he had gotten thrown right into it, rather than sitting for a year or two.
Well, I would just like to say we do have a punching bag on the bench there. Some guy who's taken a lot of hits.
Joseph Vincent Flacco.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Is that his Christian name? I feel like that's a Christian name. But no, I mean, we do have a punching bag on the bench who got a few snaps this week.
I'm talking about RG3?
Yeah, a guy who knows how to take a hit, clearly. So maybe we just put him in a little more.
One hit. Exactly. One hit. One well-timed hit.
Well, and kind of speaking of RG3 and his past, as you know, he came from the Redskins by way of the Browns. That's how we would want to phrase that. And nearly broke his leg on the field.
Yeah.
And the Redskins, of course, famous for having Joe Theismann break his leg live on the field. And would you call it a curse at this point?
33 years to the day, Alex Smith breaks his leg after Joe Theismann.
Yeah. I mean,
the day.
At some point, you just got to be like, listen, if the game falls on this day, I'm not playing. I'm sorry. I'm out.
If the game happens on the 17th, is that what it is? Yeah.
17th.
If it happens on November 17th.
No, 18th.
18th. Wait, today's the 19th. Oh, today's the 19th.
Yes.
It looked like the 18th. Anyway, if the game's played on the 18th, I think you should run without a quarterback. There's like a single wing option. 3 running backs.
3 running backs. Yeah.
A Maryland eye or something like that.
Snapping it, just wild snap to anybody. Or wildcat it. There you go. Yeah, wildcat it. Sure.
Just do nothing but reverses.
Until the guy late in the fourth quarter who's gotten the most snaps breaks his leg on the field.
And then it's like they're coming up to Adrian Peterson and was like, all right, you're going to line up at the quarterback position.
Nope.
Like, nope, not doing it.
Nope. I already got glass knees,
Sorry
bro.
about that, boss.
Nope, can't do it. Cannot do it. So are you in the camp that says Joe should return in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think if Joe was...
Because they're not saying this week, right? They're saying it's probably going to be 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, he was on crutches. So there's a lot of times where people hear about something like this in sports and get so fucking excited. And like you see like one really... Like this happened with the Ravens multiple times.
Yeah.
Mind you, I made a joke about Stoney Case. Stoney Case had one preseason game where he threw for like 250 yards and a half. and people were just like, "We found the quarterback of the future." I'm like, let's watch him do it at least one more time before we start saying that.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
The very next game was terrible. It was a shit show. And
one preseason game throwing against the second string or third string.
This Monday Night Football game is just fucking ridiculous. It's like 80 points scored so far in this.
Yep.
83 points.
Two of the highest scoring defenses, right?
People are getting tired.
10 minutes left in the fourth. 10 minutes left in the fourth. If you're listening to this later in the week, you probably don't care as much about our commentary about the live game that's playing right now. Anyway, so you think that Joe should come back? I guess we'll see. Oh my God, was that another strip sack?
Yeah, just like on Jared Goff, like right.
I did not realize that's what it was.
That's why I was so.
Jesus Christ! All right, yeah. So let's not focus on the game. Because by the way, in related sports ball news, Corey and I both lost this week in fantasy football.
Well, it's not over yet. I mean, that Jared Goff
turnover for a touchdown does
not help.
No, yeah, fumble for a touchdown. How many points is that?
It's -2. I don't
does he get the points for the touchdown that scored when he fumbled? -2 but +5. So I mean, it's net
20
3
points so far for me in this game. I think Brandon Cooks is out for the rest of the game. So
yeah,
I have to have Jared Goff score me 45 points for me to tie this thing up.
Yeah. So
I don't imagine it's going to happen. But
and I lost by...
It's 40 points already with 10 minutes left in the fourth. I think there's still some sort of hope of this happening.
Sure. Based on the replays that they're showing about the knocked in balls, the strip sacks from the game. But I lost by 4 points. And I am going to blame this on being on the West Coast. Because I had a running back who was a game time decision. And I knew you were working. And I said, we are not going to get up and go to watch football on Sunday. Therefore, I am not going to get up early on Sunday. So
you need to prepare ahead of time.
Yeah, when someone says game time decision, no, you're not in my lineup. But they played him, and he got 10 points. And the person I put in to replace him got 4 points. And I lost by 4 points. So that 6-point difference would have been everything.
I always hate, like, I had a thing happen where I had Dalvin Cook in my starting lineup, and he put up 2 points.
Yeah.
But he was projected for, like, the second most.
Oh, yeah. No.
Running backs. Like,
Hines was projected for 10, even with Freeman, but, you know.
And I had, like, I did the thing where, like, after the games were all done, I looked at it, I was just like, he had 2 points. But Barber from the Bucks had 19 points.
Yeah.
And I started doing, like, why didn't I start Barber? Why didn't I start Barber over the guy I would absolutely start 99.9% of the time?
Yeah. In no situation would you actually start Barber when he's projected at 3.
I just like those moments where you look at it, it's just like, why would I start Tom Brady when I have...
So here's what I've realized, though.
When Joe Flacco put up more points at Tom Brady this week, I should have started Joe Flacco. I would have known.
Here is what I realized. I cannot win in both of my leagues in the same week.
Oh, yeah.
I lost like 7 or 8 straight weeks in my other league. Then I won in both leagues in the same week. Now I'm on a 3-week win streak in the other league, but I've lost 2 weeks in a row in our league. I cannot win in both leagues at the same time. I've jinxed myself. So I have to figure out, maybe I tank this week in the other league just to try to pick up a win.
The other problem you're going to find is that, I don't know if this has happened to you yet, but it probably will, where like, so I'm in a tight matchup with, not at all tight matchup, with Miller.
Yes.
But hypothetically, let's say it's a tight matchup.
Sure.
And I have Goff and Cooks, and he has Robert Woods on his team. And then on another league, I'm going to have Robert Woods on that team, and then I need Robert Woods to put up points to like win that league. But I'm going to do this thing where I'm going to say to myself, like, all right, so I'm going to have, Robert Woods gets a catch.
Okay, first and goal to Robert Woods right now. Anyway.
You're going to do that thing where it's like, all right, I want Robert Woods to score enough points to win that one matchup for me.
but
I also want him to not go crazy because I'm going to need Goff and Cooks to match whatever he does plus whatever it takes to win. You're going to do those like it's the worst when you have like a team defense.
Yeah,
I have like losing by 1 and you're just like, I just need 3 points from the Rams, but I also need them to.
I need
them to get
Travis Kelce. I need Travis Kelce to score 4 touchdowns, but I need that to be the only points scored at all.
Yeah,
all right,
the
okay.
only points the Rams give up.
And in fact, no, 4 touchdowns. But if the Rams can also pick 6, that's what I need. A pick 6 and 4 touchdowns to Travis Kelce, and that's it. That's all I need. No, I mean, you're getting a weird thing when you're in two leagues of like, I have a player on my team and I'm playing against that player in the other. Like, it's not even just I'm needing to offset stuff. It's literally like
Ben Roethlisberger goes off and you're like, I'm so happy I have him on my team, but also facing against him.
I'm also, well, luckily I have Ben Roethlisberger in both of my leagues, so that's not a problem. I just get the disappointment when he puts up 16 last week. Yeah. Oh, but the fantasticness when he puts up 28. He put up 28 this week though. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, moving on. One last bit of sports ball news.
Yes.
In a different sport.
New exciting members of the Orioles organization join the fray.
Sad and upsetting news. It seems that Buck Showalter this week put his home up for sale, which means that there hasn't been an official notice, right? Nobody said anything. His contract's up, and nobody's really said anything.
I think they said he wouldn't return, or they didn't plan on renewing his contract.
Yes, yeah. But that was the old management.
Yeah,
and now we have new management.
Well, Elias was just hired like 2 days ago.
Yes. But now we have new management. By the way, Jesus Christ, this game. It's now 46-44. It's going to be 47-44.
Assuming that Zerline doesn't miss another PAT.
Yes. Good Lord, what a game. All right, so I
mean, the Monday Night Football execs are like laughing in their barrel of money right now.
But Buck Showalter put his home in Baltimore up for sale. But now we have a new GM in Baltimore who is coming from the Astros organization. The Astros, who, by the way, they've appeared in a World Series recently, haven't they? Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. I feel like
they won it.
Oh, they did. They won that. Yeah, and I think they made it pretty deep in the playoffs this year as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean they made it to the ALCS.
They did. Yes, and the year before the World Series.
5 years ago, Sports Illustrated said your 2018 or your 2017 World Series champions about the Astros.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Because they had it all figured out early, and they just
building
the plan, and then
And what is the one complaint we always have about the Orioles?
No plan.
No plan. It just seems to happen. Like 2014, just kind of seemed to happen there.
We're gonna field a team and win it.
So, hopefully, Elias.
Buck goes to Dan Duquette's office and says, like, I don't think I have enough pitchers to start the season. It's just like, wow, looks like Ryan Flaherty might have to throw a couple innings.
We traded him.
I prefer we don't. Can we just sign a fucking pitcher? Anywho, Mike Elias, new Orioles general manager, just in time for the GM meetings.
Good.
Which will be happening next week, I think.
And as a reminder, Dan Duquette, the outgoing GM, this is about the time 2 years ago when he was trying to get a deal with the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So, fuck you, Dan Duquette.
It's still like Buck's letter, where it's just like, me and Andy McPhail had a plan. Everything was great. Everything was wonderful.
Then
something happened. Now I'm fucking fired. I wonder what the fuck happened. Something
happened. We're no longer competitive. We're no longer heading into the playoffs, and I'm fired. So
everything seems to be going really well for me, and then all of a sudden something didn't, and I wonder what happened.
By the way, I want to go back because I feel like when Andy McPhail left, you said this cannot be good.
Yeah.
That was we were doing the podcast then, right?
Yeah, I said I don't want to get rid of you.
I feel like that was 2014. That was probably around the time we started the podcast. Yeah. No, it was in the end of the first year of the podcast. And you're like, I feel like this is a bad move on our part. We should just do what we have to do to keep Andy McPhail because he's playing things out really well.
Well, to be fair, Andy McPhail's father was dying, I think.
Yes.
Which is why he left originally. But I also did the thing of like, we should set him up with one of those contracts where it's just like, we're going to pay you, like half of whatever you make as a general manager, and you're going to be a consultant to the team. And then whenever you feel like it, whenever you feel like you are ready to handle this full time, we'll graciously give you back the job.
And in the meantime, Cal Ripken can come in.
I mean, it seems like, if you had, Theo Epstein with the Cubs or something like that. And I'm obviously not trying to put bad juju on anybody here. But I mean, like, say he had like leukemia or something like that and needed to get treatment. The Cubs at this point, the guy who brought them a World Series would say,
take the time. Take all the time you need.
We're gonna sign you to a new special contract where we're gonna continue paying for you, paying you and giving you health insurance.
Yeah.
You come by and tell us what you think and come in the draft room and stuff like that. Whenever you feel like you can.
Yeah.
And then when you are ready, after you've gone through all your treatment and you want to come back, the door is open for you.
And again, you find some symbolic head to come in as a GM.
Some guy,
do
some
the
guy
day-to-day.
who's like second in command
Yeah.
to him, and then it's like, not only are we going to, like let you sort of walk away for a little while, but we're going to let your second in command get some time in the seat,
Yeah.
and maybe they'll get a job. So we'll help your guy get another job at some point by giving him this figurehead position right now.
When we know, and you pick the guy.
Yeah.
So you pick the guy you know is not going to fight you when you're ready to come back.
Right.
Good. Yeah, we could have done that. Instead, we hired David Kett, who 2 years into his contract decided he didn't want to be here anymore, went to get another job. By the way, I'm noticing something on the old mixed pre-10 here.
Mother.
Well, hi there. Looks like now we're recording. I hope that the audio through Facebook has been decent.
You know what the problem is?
What is it?
Is that we get everything set up,
Yep.
and then like I get the lights going, and then it's the last thing I think to check it. Honest to God, this thing fucking throws me every
'Cause
single
you
time.
can hear it?
Yeah, because I can hear it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, hey, at least we have half a podcast coming at you. So if you didn't get any audio before this, welcome to the O The Anthem podcast, episode 241.
Corey.
Coming to you half on the hashtag OTA LOC is high level wanted beautiful Long Island.
Long Island, California.
Los Angeles. Yeah. So, all right. So I think that is that all from that we have?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job to hoping that.
All right.
What a fucking show already.
I know. We're only 20 minutes in, so it's all right. We only missed the first 20 minutes.
Apologies to anybody
Who tuned in for
Yeah,
that first
it's-
nonsense?
who tuned in and that shit was terrible.
Oh, Rachel, turning in from the other room.
I hear you guys.
where she's very quiet. It's ironic, Rachel. Maybe you're hearing us with your ears, not through the Facebook machine. Yes, appreciate it. All right.
Let us know how terrible it was.
Let us know how bad that was. All right, so moving on. More news. Oh, wait, we have another thing for this. Hang on. And we haven't played this one in a while.
The Baltimore corner?
Where you get the straight dope. Oh, yes. So, news coming out of Baltimore. Number one, a 5-year-old got shot today. Good job, Baltimore.
That's not news.
Yeah. Apparently, one of 7 people shot today. If Jason Putz is to be believed.
We should
I haven't fact checked that.
we should probably get a police commissioner in on that.
Yeah, probably should. Oh, wait, we got one.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, so news out of Baltimore. New police chief.
Joel Fitzgerald from the Fort Worth Police Department is now
Long-standing chief of Fort Worth.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
third job in 4 years.
Third job in 4 years.
Joel Fitzgerald.
I did put out in our pre-show meeting, we should have checked whether or not he's collecting a pension from the other 3 jobs that he's currently under, like Baltimore's ex-police chiefs. Here's the question. Did he get a sweet contract where he gets paid for 4 years, even if he only does 1 year of work?
I really don't understand this. It's so preposterously stupid. First of all, Catherine Pugh comes out and says that we're going to do a transparent search and everyone's going to have a part in it, and we're going to find the best person for the job. And then apparently nobody was consulted. Nobody in the city council, nobody in the FOP, nobody in the police department currently.
I mean,
nobody,
fuck the FOP.
Well, I mean, it's fine, but I mean, saying if you're going to say that you're having an completely open, transparent process, you would imagine that those 3 entities would be at least consulted at some point before the judge. I mean,
well, listen.
the FOP released a statement, and again, I concur with your fuck the FOP, but I'm saying the FOP released a statement where it's just this happened and we had no idea who he was, and we have no idea. We have no idea how good he is at his job, and many people here are wondering, much like the rest of you, what's going to happen next, and. Yeah, I mean, welcome to the job, but we don't.
Well, let's keep in mind.
We can't really say you brought in the
sure,
best that could possibly be.
I'm sure Catherine Pugh did her due diligence. It's not like, given the history of the Baltimore Police Department, that this guy's facing some sort of charges or a lawsuit.
It's not like he hasn't
something.
paid his taxes or something.
Oh wait, that's right. Yes. What did they say? Since 2012, 2013, something like that.
Yeah. When what's his name? The one who just got fired. D'Souza.
D'Souza.
Yeah.
Yes.
Catherine Pugh, number one, doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. And number two, does not make me feel better about any of these situations when she releases public statements saying, like, you need to just let me do my job and trust me.
Yeah.
No, this is the whole reason why we're on your case all the fucking time. Because we don't trust you. Like, this, I don't, you know, it's like Trump going, like, you know, like, oh, you people just need to trust me more. No, when we trust you, you fuck us. This is not hard to understand. Like, this is you know, it's like many Ravens seasons. Like, it's just like, just trust us and we'll win. No, you don't deserve that trust.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe you used to. Not anymore.
It's like if I set multiple fires throughout everywhere I lived, like I just had a tendency to burn down places.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, come on, just let me borrow those matches and gasoline.
Like,
no,
no,
you don't deserve that.
But she does know how to ride a Lime scooter, okay? That's all I'm saying. She knows how to ride a Lime scooter. I really want to get that video so I can just cue it up as a drop. Just whenever we talk about Catherine Pugh, I just want the video of her
I think
scooting across the screen. I wonder if I could just put it on the green screen so that she would scoot in front of us, all the way in front of us. Just
I think we should have a nationwide new law passed that says that if you are that there should be an option in every single election of none of these people are good enough for us. Like, so when it's like,
they do that in other countries.
Hillary and Trump,
Yeah.
like there should be a third option where it's just like neither of these two. And then we have a new election after that where those two people aren't allowed to run again.
So in Brazil, they do a runoff. But during the runoff, you're actually allowed to do a no ballot. So there's a box for no ballot, or you leave it blank. They're both counted no ballot. And basically they count up, and the person has to get a majority of not only the votes cast, but of not only the two candidates, but a majority of all votes cast, including the no ballot ones. And apparently, no ballot was pretty strong. It's a pretty strong contender in the election in Brazil.
I feel like it would send a very strong message to people like, you know, Hillary and Trump. Like if they go to run against each other, and it's just like, oh wow, 50% of the country voted neither one of these fucking people. Maybe that should be our clue.
That reminds me. Hang on. Keep talking. I'm gonna.
I think that if Baltimore had the option of Catherine Pugh, whatever Republican was alive and running.
Damn ads. I just did a free ad for Facebook. This is the meme I was talking about last time, which I found. You're welcome.
The Hillary Clinton sneaking up
on the Democratic Party, ready for new ideas and a new agenda.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
My. Yes, anyway.
I feel like Catherine Pugh would have lost resoundingly to not any of these people.
Yes.
I just don't even understand. It's really shocking to me.
But luckily, that is securely a Baltimore problem. No issues anywhere else in the country.
Let's go over to the LA corner.
Which, by the way, we should probably get a drop for this at some point.
I mean, it shouldn't be the LA corner. It should be something else, but
nonetheless. So I'm starting to think maybe it's us. Do you think it's us? Are we the ones causing all the problems?
No. It's the LA City Council is notoriously corrupt.
Oh,
this
okay.
This was most of this stuff was happening prior to us moving here too.
True.
So
they just got caught when we got here. So maybe we are Batman.
Yeah.
And
So
Robin. Batman, Robin.
When we had initially moved here, it was probably a month or two in or something like that.
Oh yeah, we went to the event, right? Downtown?
The back on Broadway?
Yeah.
Bring It Back Broadway?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I said at that point that I wouldn't be surprised if Jose Huizar, the city councilman for our city council district, was made mayor at some point. And then maybe if the right series of events happened, that maybe he could find some way into the governor's office, or he could find some way into running for higher office even than that. I thought he had a lot of promise. Like he was very good at like getting himself out there and like making it seem like he was fixing all the problems and stuff like that.
He's really good at getting himself out there.
That up until 2 weeks ago when the FBI raided his home and office, didn't say anything about what they were doing when they were doing that. But a new report came out showing a shocking amount of what's the
Corruption, bribery.
I mean, bribery is probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
Like pay to play of
Yes.
developers and politicians and the city council. I think 15 of 16 names or something like that were involved in taking some sort of kickback.
By the way, do you think the 16th guy insulted that nobody ever approached him with a bribe, or like proud that he was the one who stood up to
He's
it?
the one Republican in the city council, and he's like the one guy who's just like straight and narrow, and he's just like, I'm the only one who does the job right.
Yeah.
And then Republicans start running in other races, and it's just like, fuck you guys. Always forever it was Wayne Gilchrist,
Yes.
who we both loved.
Yes. And should run again.
Yeah, but I'm
Please.
saying like Wayne Gilchrist was like that Republican who made sense where he ran.
Yeah.
But like he could only win there if he like moved to Baltimore County and ran against Dutch, he would have got slaughtered.
Yeah. Or if he moved to Mississippi. I mean,
Yeah.
New Mississippi maybe, actually. New Mississippi maybe, but not old Mississippi where it was.
Oh, I imagine they'd love to get another Republican who doesn't make lynching comments.
I mean, that's probably true. But back to
for
Jose
their
Huizar.
Senate seat. Yeah.
Huizar was in charge of the committee for something about approvals. They
Yeah.
did approvals of zoning
Yeah, so
exceptions. They have a special word for
yeah,
it.
yeah,
but,
it's really weird. But I'm let me. So for people who don't understand how California works, it's kind of like Maryland, only worse, in the sense that you say you are a developer who wants to come in and build something on a plot of land. First of all, you negotiate to purchase the land from whoever owns it or the building or whatever it is. And then you go to the city council and they sort of do a preliminary like approve or deny situation. And then after that, it goes to another round of like approve or deny. And at any point during this process, people start filing lawsuits.
yes.
So it's like a 4-year process of going through all the lawsuits that are happening while the city council is deciding whether or not this is going to happen. So it's like the first approval is like the way you get into
A variance. They're called variances.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, because
that's
inevitably,
like when you can start suing is as soon as they approve it once.
yes,
and
because
then,
inevitably you buy the building and you want to change its use,
Yeah.
which requires a variance from the current city plan. And once you ask for a variance and they approve the first approval of the variance, that's when people start suing and say, hey, we don't want a hotel that's 20 stories here
Yeah.
because other developer, my building's right next door, and you're going to block the view of all the people.
and
I sold
that's
apartments to.
a lot of what it. So it's neighborhood associations and other things, other people who sue over like environmental regulations and
Yeah.
stuff. There was one of them that was a guy wanted to build on a plot of land right next to the Beverly Hilton.
Yeah.
And he wanted to build it 20 stories high. And Beverly Hills has an 8-story height exception.
Right.
But he was basically getting around that height exception by bribing local officials into allegedly too. None of this has been like there's just like records of another touchdown. There's just all these records of people going meeting with people in behind closed doors meetings, and then all of a sudden the Jose Huizar for city council getting $600-$700
And
the very next day.
The story is so weird. It's like behind closed doors meeting, 2 weeks later, approval, 2 weeks after that, donation to the campaign.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
One of these
And it's
is
amazing
funny,
to
but-
see. It's amazing to see that they'll have like 4 different meetings lined up with like 4 different city council members, and it'll be like meeting with Huizar 2 weeks later, $600 donation to Huizar. Meeting with Mitch O'Farrell 2 weeks later, $600
Yeah.
donation to Mitch O'Farrell.
By the way, also a little appalling at how little money it takes to buy off a member
Well,
of
something tells me that there's a you can only give me 600.
Okay.
You know, like there's some regulation or something like that you can only give me so much money. And the rest is going to go in a white paper envelope that you slide across the table to
Okay.
me at some point during our closed door meeting.
Could be that. Could be that as well.
And I think that's what the FBI is looking into. They're more interested in
There's a
if-
safe with a bunch of cash in it in
or
Jose
the-
Huizar's house?
or if you put a knife into his mattress, does money fly out or something like that?
Or does he have a storage unit with a bed made of money like
Yeah.
Walter
Breaking
White?
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, Walter White with a bed
His
made of money.
storage unit.
Yes. But anyway, so corruption in the LA City Council. I guess we'll see.
98 combined points.
Most in Monday Night Football history.
There's still 2-something
723
minutes
games.
left to go.
Yeah, and I think Jared Goff's about to take him downfield again. So we'll see. By the way, the Jew with the LAFD hat playing
Yeah.
for the in the Chiefs staff. Good for
Yeah.
you. Good for
Yeah.
you, bro. Anyway,
Someone
so
tells me they handed them out before
probably.
they just had a bucket full of LAFD hats.
Let's go to national politics because if there's not enough corruption on the local level, we could find it in the national level. Something we didn't really talk about in the pre-show meeting, but which occurs to me now. Speaking of corruption, President Trump in the White House forced to give Jim Acosta back his press credentials
Yeah.
as a result of a order from the court today or yesterday, maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
But
I think it went through officially yesterday, but it was like the weekend that it was like sort of
Yeah.
decided.
and
But they hadn't decided how it was going to happen. So there was like essentially when you're a White House press correspondent, you have what's called a hard pass, which is like a laminated,
Yes.
like you work there kind of
Yes.
thing. And it sort of allows you into the area that the press are allowed to inside the White House.
also you get to skip security.
Yeah, you
So-
just get to walk in.
Right.
And Acosta's hard pass was taken away, and the judge said that they need to give it back to him. But they sort of gave him like a soft pass for the weekend, and then the hard pass was like official as of yesterday or something
Yes.
like that. I don't know.
Except for the president then said in one of his first press announcements after the fact that decorum was necessary in the White House and a lack of decorum would lead to pulling the press credentials again.
Yeah.
To which basically
On
CNN
the
was
same day where he tweeted out about little Adam shit.
yes, yes, and
Which to me is my favorite of the Trump nicknames because now he's starting to get a little bit vulgar.
yes, he's
like-
just zero fucks given at this
Yeah.
point. He's like, nah, whatever.
Like he's like just like sitting there and watching Fox News, going like, "Oh man, I can't wait until Hillary runs again. I'm gonna call her Hillary the cunt in front of everybody,
Oh.
national TV."
Oh
It's
man,
just people are gonna
Oh.
look at him just like, "This is the worst thing that Trump has done yet." And then there's gonna be people who are like, "Yeah, well, he's always telling the truth, and Donald Trump only says right things, bro." And we'll just get another run of this, and
Yes.
it's just like,
don't
Wolf-
run, Hillary. Please don't run.
Wolf Blitzer going like, is it inappropriate to call a woman a cunt? Our 9-person panel will discuss all.
Well, I mean, Wolf, what if she is a cunt? Does that make a difference? I mean,
Van Jones like, there's never an excuse to use that word. Never, ever, ever.
we did a national poll, and 40% of people said she was a cunt.
We're
So
going to live on the 538 podcast where Nate Silver is going to discuss the
Nope.
linguistic history of the word cunt.
nope, not gonna touch it. Not gonna touch it. Sorry, this one's on you, not me. Don't pull me into your shenanigans anymore. So they basically have said decorum will be necessary, and they've defined decorum as if you ask an unpre-approved follow-up question, they will take your hard pass.
An unpre-approved follow-up question?
Yes.
So, like, one that hasn't been run by before? Or
So
like one that...
It's unclear because does that mean you have to clear the question first, or does it have to mean that you say follow up and the
then they
president
say yes.
acknowledges you and then you ask your follow up? Because if you'll remember, Jim Acosta lost his because of an exchange where the president didn't answer his question and he said, "Mr. President, again, I'd like an answer to the question."
But how does that work? If you get the approval for the follow-up question and then you don't answer it and then you ask to have it answered again, does that...
Apparently, it's
are
very
these
unclear.
part of new rules. Like, just fucking deal with it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
serious. Like, I know that Trump is winning, lathering up his followers into a fine frenzy by yelling at Jim Acosta. But, like, number one, Jim Acosta isn't, like, the number one person that would be on anybody's journalist depth chart. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like anyone's just like, oh, no, Jim Acosta's not there. What the fuck are we going to do? Like,
Although he's turning himself into that. I mean, he's become like the sacrificial lamb in a way.
what he ends up doing is answer, like, I think part of the pros and cons of having someone like Jim Acosta is that he's CNN's representative to the White House.
Yeah.
So under normal circumstances, you would never understand unless Jim Acosta did something truly horrific, which would lose him his job kind of thing.
Right.
you're not going to kick CNN out, which up until 2 weeks ago, he would say, like, hey, you're never going to kick CNN out of the pool spray or anything like that.
Well, to be fair, they didn't kick CNN out.
Yeah, they
but
just kicked Acosta out.
CNN didn't go back in protest. They
Right.
said, if you're going to take his hard pass, we are not going to send anyone else. He is our representative in the White House. And I mean, it's a good it's a good suggestion. You, the president, do not get to pick who covers you.
Yeah.
We pick who covers you from our organization. You decide whether or not our organization deserves entry, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of the discussion. I mean, this tin pot dictator bullshit that he's trying to pull, basically on every level of I get to pick who covers me. I get to pick what decorum means, and I can call people names on Twitter. But if you ask a follow-up question without getting my approval, that's not okay. I'm going to set a federal budget, and then I'm going to blame the state for not spending enough of the federal budget that I have allotted very little to. I'm going to cut the budget, by the way, in my first year, and then blame the state because there are no federal funds for firefighting, which is what he did, and during the wildfires here in California. And as you pointed out,
another touchdown.
Yes, it's another touchdown by the Rams.
The fuck?
I believe that was Robert Woods as well.
No, it wasn't. It was Higbee.
Okay, I just really wanted it to be Robert Woods running.
Oh, Everett. Sorry, I knew it was a tight end. I could
So,
tell it's too big to be a wide receiver.
you pointed out that Gavin Newsom, the governor-elect of California, who is basically, which one thing I noticed after you pointed out, Brown is gone. Brown has just basically ceded the field to
By
Gavin
the way,
Newsom.
I'm only 30 points down.
Goff is showing up today.
Goff had 35 points. What more can I ask?
I mean, he did his part. The rest of your team not really doing their part.
I just need 30 more of them. 30 more of them in the next
dancing.
minute and 49 seconds.
So Gavin Newsom,
Yes.
Jerry Brown has ceded the field. Basically, he is all but gone, and I think Gavin Newsom's basically running the state at this point.
I feel like Gavin Newsom is now just involved in more meetings than he was before.
Maybe he's more
Like
public.
Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom are sitting side by side at all the meetings that would have just been Jerry Brown before.
I haven't seen Jerry Brown.
Oh,
at all.
he was there. He was right next to Gavin Newsom and Trump.
The pictures are all just Trump and Newsom.
Well, yeah, I'm sure, because nobody wants to look at Gary Brown, but
Or Jerry Brown, I guess, basically looks like Trump at this point, right?
I mean,
Kind of a
they're
dumpy
both
old white guy.
he doesn't have the same style, the same hairstyle thing going on.
Sorry, I'm Gavin Newsom. This is my Gavin.
Yeah,
Newsom.
so I pointed this out. Everything is politics. Gavin Newsom shows up next to Trump at some press conference that he has in front of burned up embers.
Yes.
And Gavin Newsom is wearing like a really stylish jacket.
Tight jacket.
Like fit well, like it was tailored, like it was sewn onto his body. Like somebody went out and said, like, we need a jacket that makes a statement about how cool and young and dynamic you are.
That's a 32 3/4 jacket. Like it's an exact fit jacket.
Like multiple pockets too, because you're out there in the fire and we need to make sure that people know that you're tactical.
Yeah, pockets, tactical pockets.
And then he's standing there with his like arms on his hips, but like arched back, so his shoulders are like sort of pinching together, and he's got that like big chest thing going on.
Yes.
Like just trying to, like, if he sits down in that jacket, then all the buttons will bust straight off.
Yeah, but no,
he was literally sewn into that jacket seconds before they press conference.
He'll unzip it with force and vigor right before he sits down in a chair. Like, tell me what's wrong. How can I help you?
It's just
Why didn't we rake? Why didn't we rake before the fire?
Such a ridiculous, like. The other thing about that too is like, if California did decide to rake all their forests, number one, mostly it would be prisoners. Second of all, it would mostly be Mexicans who are not allowed into the country because of Trump's rules.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have helped out any either. And then third of all, like we would have, I don't even understand the goddamn plan. You know, so the Woolsey fire alone is 150 square miles. That's a city the size of Denver.
Yeah.
That's not a reasonable amount to, what are you, raking every week and a half? Like, shut
No,
up.
all I'm saying is we only want to produce some jobs here. Raking the forest.
Raking the forest.
The question is, what do we do with all the leaves?
I'm sure-
That's the biggest
I'm
issue.
sure just light them on fire. What?
Just in a controlled pile.
just
We make a pile and
Bring
control
him,
it.
bring him to a parking lot at the Staples Center and light him on fire. Nothing could go wrong.
Oh yeah. The wind kicks up. Santanas kick up. Whole city burns down. Gavin Newsom standing there like, feel like this was probably a mistake. Whose idea was this?
Oh,
Jerry's? Was it Jerry's?
That's right. I did say do it in the Staples Center parking lot. Why did I do that? Now the
Oh, man.
110 and the 10 are on fire.
Yeah, You remember, Mom, you remember when I told you the building would never burn down? Well, I was not counting on Gavin Newsom starting a big leaf fire in the Staples parking lot. Now it's a bit of a problem. The 110's literally burning. It's not
It's like a river of fire.
just a river of molten asphalt. So
Corey's still out there smoking. Saying for
I'm
some,
breathing
for
worse.
for some reason, I'm having trouble breathing today.
So Corey was out on the balcony while there was a what was it? Was it a fire?
It was like a structure fire. It was
structure
like a house
fire.
fire.
And he was having trouble breathing while smoking a cigarette out on the balcony due to the plastics and what other carcinogens that the state of California has warned us are in the buildings. Yes.
Everything.
As I think we pointed out right at one of our first episodes here in California, that every building has a little warning on it. It's like,
Well,
everything in this building, if it catches fire, will kill you.
It's like one of those well-meaning California laws where they say we should let people know that if they walk into a building that has something that's a known carcinogen, then they
Yes.
should be warned ahead of time. So there's like a little placard
Yeah.
at literally every single
But
building.
it's every building.
Because it seems like one of those things that's just like, well, wood has caused cancer in 0.001% of cases. It's like, put it on the sign.
Wait. So here's the thing. Parking in LA, but it was a pick. Mahomes just threw a pick.
Nice.
So parking in
Run
LA.
it up, golf.
Parking in LA is where?
Underground?
Underground.
Yeah.
But also generally the first floor of the building.
Yeah.
So as you're going to walk into the building, usually it's the first floor and below, maybe even the second, first, and below that's parking. Well, the things that cars put out, the exhaust, will give you cancer. It has
Yeah.
carcinogens in it. So immediately, if there's a parking garage in the building, that sign, there's the sign.
Yeah.
That there are things in this building that are going to give you cancer because there's a car parking garage. Don't breathe in the air in the parking garage. But yeah, I'll try my best.
There's
Thank
a
you.
guy who smokes around here, so put the carcinogen sign on the wall.
Also, yeah, I am convinced that because the building allows you to smoke on your own balcony, they would have to put that sign up either way.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
there's a chance that your neighbor, who you said what up to today, could get exposed to your cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
So they have to let them know. We allow smoking. So
That dangerous secondhand smoke.
and third-hand smoke.
Yeah.
And fourth-hand smoke.
Yeah, that's a thing now in California. Fourth-hand smoke.
Fourth-hand smoke. I don't even know how that works. How does fourth-hand smoke work?
Well, so first-hand smoke is I literally smoke a cigarette.
Yes.
Second-hand smoke is you're sitting next to me while I smoke a cigarette. Third-hand
Yes.
smoke is like I smoked in this room and then somebody else walked into it.
No. Third-hand smoke is I work at a bar. You smoke, it gets on my clothes, and then my kids are exposed to it.
Right.
So
maybe
I get
fourth-hand
secondhand, they get
smoke
third-hand.
is you work at the bar, you come home, you play with your kids, and then your kids bring it to school.
Maybe that's a lot of distance from the cigarette.
I would like the state of California to find me 10 people who died from secondhand smoke, like legitimately died from secondhand smoke.
yeah.
Like, because it's really not that many people.
By the
The
way,
number of people who number one, scientifically speaking, if you get cancer, you're actually probably more predisposed to getting cancer.
yes.
Like, just because you smoke is not an automatic, like, you get cancer.
Hey, what's the guy's name who smoked 3 cigars a day? His entire George Burns.
Yeah.
3 cigars a day for 103 years,
Yeah.
and then died of old age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, it's like one of those things, like, if Steve Jobs smoked or didn't smoke, it wouldn't have really mattered because Steve Jobs was more likely to get cancer than
Yes.
another person.
Yes, he lived a
So-
very clean life.
Yeah.
Did not help him. Still cancer.
Yeah. So, or Andy Kaufman, who didn't smoke,
Yes.
but got lung cancer. Like, these things.
Wait, didn't what's his name?
It's like you have a regular old leaf fire going on in the Staples Center parking lot, and then cigarettes are the gasoline you throw on top of it.
could be worse. Can make
You're
it worse.
just accelerating what would already be happening.
But how do we get off on this topic? Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom's
and the
jacket,
fires.
yeah.
Yes. So
raking leaves and setting them on fire.
Yeah, so Trump is an idiot, and he condemned the fires, and then he backtracked his condemnation. Then he got shit from his supporters for backtracking on the condemnation, so he doubled down on the condemnation, and then he came out here for a press conference, and he was standing in front of firemen, and he supported the firemen, and then as soon as the press conference was over, then he said some shit on Twitter about we need to rake leaves. So he is a spineless tool. That's basically, he will bow down to whoever he is currently dealing with, basically.
Okay, quick question for you.
Yes.
How many times in Trump's life do you think he's actually raked leaves?
0 times.
He's never. I don't think number one, he lives in New York, so
Yeah.
you don't really have to rake leaves.
How many
there, but I'm
times
saying,
has he touched a leaf in
touched
his
a
life?
rake?
Well, touched a rake is 0. Touched a leaf.
I mean, he might have
maybe
kicked a rake out of some guy's hands once. Just like, why are you raking on my property, and like kicked it away?
No, because he owns big buildings. They don't have a rake.
Yeah, but somebody out front getting the leaves off the sidewalk.
Broom. Not a rake.
True.
When has Trump ever had a yard? He's like you. He would prefer to live in a high rise.
At a penthouse.
Yeah. So I mean, in the end, I think that the answer is he's never touched a rake, and he may have only touched a leaf in so much as they fell
One
on his
fell
car.
on him?
Yeah, they fell on his car or it fell on him, and he had to brush it off.
Yeah.
And God only knows how he would react if he actually did have a leaf fall on him, because we saw him with an umbrella, and he does not know how to operate one of those. He just
I saw another
leaves
video.
it.
I saw another video of Trump today, where him and Melania are walking. I think it's when they're leaving to go to California.
Yeah.
So it's raining out, and Trump's got the umbrella, and then he sees the pool spray, so he starts walking towards them, and Melania's just out in the rain, and then she walks up towards him, like while he's answering questions, and he keeps like moving the umbrella, like so,
Of
like she
course.
like walks up like she's gonna get underneath of it, and he's just like, this way, and he starts walking away, and he's walking with the umbrella under him, and Melania's getting rained on, and then it's like eventually like halfway through, it's just like, hey, can I have some of that umbrella? He's like, oh yeah, shit, I didn't even notice. Like,
Didn't even know you were here. Sorry.
oh, you're
Sorry,
coming on
honey.
this trip?
Die! I need to put a bell on you. Hey, keep on sneaking up on me. Thought I just paid you to look cute and stay at home. What are you doing here? So Trump's an idiot.
Yeah. Moving on.
Speaking of idiots, Nancy Pelosi's about to be speaker. That's a horrible decision, Democrats. I gotta say, I back Craig Mazin on many things, but he seems to back Nancy Pelosi, and he seems to be of the camp that says she's done her time as majority leader
Yeah.
and deserves the speakership again, because she was speaker briefly,
Right.
I believe.
Yeah.
That she deserves the speakership, and she's kept the whole party in line, and that's what we need, and that's bullshit. She has done a horrible job, and she hasn't kept the party in line, and they've done nothing to stop anything bad from happening. So we need fresh blood.
This is Hillary all over again.
Yeah.
If you don't see that, then I don't know what sport you're watching. The fact that she's a corporate Democrat.
Yeah.
She's a corporate San Francisco Democrat. Many Democrats who are running for election in this past election were running against Nancy Pelosi, saying, I'm a Democrat, but I don't think Nancy Pelosi should be majority leader.
Yes.
And if that's not the hint, like, no Democrat in this country could run a race and say, like, oh, I'm a real Democrat, but you know who would never get my support? Barack Obama.
Yeah.
You know who else I hate? JFK, LBJ.
Nobody knows who OBJ is.
FDR. I hate all of them. They're not real Democrats, so therefore, you should vote for me, the guy
Yes.
who says he's it. Like, the Nancy Pelosi is not the way forward for the Senate or for the House. I would argue that if you want to give her a position of like power or something like that, make her whip.
Yeah, I mean, if she...
I mean, like, I know it would be insulting to downgrade her from majority leader to House whip, but most of the reason why people like Nancy Pelosi or why they say that she should have this job is because she's really good at getting people all in line and to vote the same way and to
She's
stick
not.
with the ticket and
But
stuff
she's
like
not.
this.
She's not, though.
That's the whip's job. Just
Yeah.
give her the House whip.
But she's not
And
good
then
at that.
she won't be on TV as much. She won't be sitting directly behind Trump at the State of the Union, driving people fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like,
getting his supporters up in a lather. For
Yeah,
no reason.
because he's just gonna mention her at some point.
Oh, and by the way,
stupid shithead Nancy doesn't agree.
Right now, Steny Hoyer's a whip.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get him out of that job, just because he's worthless as a whip.
Well,
he's not done his job.
He's got 150 votes apparently saying that he's going to be House Speaker. I don't know where those came from, but
and wait, so how many seats did they end up taking? 200 and.
That's still changing, by the way. Another like 2 seats in California have gone since we.
Yeah, there's a chance that
all
the
of
entire
Orange,
California delegation.
All of Orange County is blue.
Yeah, which is like the first time in a long time
since Nixon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that most of the California delegation is going to be Democrat, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know people think of California as a Democratic state, but
didn't what's his face win though? The guy who was all the Nunez.
Gavin Nunez, I think.
Devin.
Isn't his, huh?
Devin
Nunez. Isn't his too close to call still?
I don't know.
Let's see. We're looking it up. Devin Nunez election 2018, and the Oh no, he did. He won. He beat Andrew Jans.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Well, unfortunately.
Yeah, there wasn't a way that the Democrats would have every single House seat in California.
But a large majority of the seats of the delegation will be.
Because there's like congressional districts that are like half the state.
Yeah.
Just trying to get all like going through.
Get
Death
all
Valley
them
and stuff
Republicans
like
in there.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, listen, it wasn't going to be all, but anyway, what was my point? That there's 240 something?
Something like, somewhere in there.
So 150 gets him the speakership.
Yeah. If that's a true number.
Yeah, I don't think he has 150.
I don't. Right now is the first. So this is what bothers me. Right now is the first decision you make on the path to 2020.
Yeah.
You need to set up what the party's going to stand for going into this final 2 years before 2020.
Yeah.
And they're already talking about things like doing things that would be symbolic mostly because they know they wouldn't be able to get it passed through the Senate.
Yep.
But saying like, let's do a law to overturn Citizens United.
Yep.
Let's do campaign finance reform for real. Let's protect the Dreamers and Obamacare and blah, 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 blah. But Nancy Pelosi is not the one you want up there saying that we can't take corporate PAC money anymore.
Yes.
There's literally money falling out of her pockets when she walks.
She's the wearing the NASCAR jacket and saying like, listen, maybe no more corporate donate. Oh, Pfizer? Pfizer. Oh, yeah, you don't need to worry about Pfizer. Yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands. We need to find somebody. Now, by the way, of note, Ocasio-Cortez, not a good choice for speaker.
Yeah, no.
And not Ilit, the Muslim woman from Minnesota. Also not the way forward.
Yeah.
They're not congressmen yet. They have not been sworn in. Should not be speaker on your first term in Congress. Just saying.
I've also heard a lot of people say like, yeah, you get on Nancy Pelosi, but you're okay with Chuck Schumer being Senate minority leader. I'm like, no,
Nope.
I never said that.
Nope, not okay with that either.
Said that.
I would really like him to step down as well.
Yeah, I would prefer somebody else be. I mean, what would be great is if you get somebody who isn't possibly going to run for president to be the Senate minority leader, because then they don't have to.
Oh,
minority. Yeah,
right.
Because then they don't have to worry about like running the Senate and running a race at the same time.
Yes.
And making it look like they can't do both jobs at the same time or anything like that. Just
maybe they could actually block some shit in the Senate. That'd be nice.
I mean, giving Cory Booker the minority leadership wouldn't be the way to go, or Kamala Harris or something like that.
Is the way to go because it keeps them out of the race for the presidency.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it either way.
But speaking of Ocasio-Cortez, let's close out today with the most ridiculous news of the week.
We should
have
a bumper for that one too.
Yeah, bumper for that. So
we'll just get Catherine Pugh riding away on a lime scooter.
The same one would work. Ocasio-Cortez age.
29.
She's 29, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's a little younger than us.
Aha!
Yeah, look at that. Bernie Sanders, 77. Jesus. All right.
People also searched for her.
All right. So she's 29 years old, which means she is 4 years younger than both of us. Oh, it was just her birthday. So she's almost 5 years.
Happy birthday, Alexandria.
Yeah. So there was a story that came out. Oh wait, whoops! I forgot that we're still recording. Right?
Yeah,
There we
anytime
go.
you do
We're
that.
back. Anytime I type, we get it stuff. So there was a story this week. 2 stories. The first one came out like late. Actually, it might have been before the podcast, but we didn't get to it last week.
Yeah.
Which was commenting on. She said, "Hey, I can't move to DC yet because I can't afford to live in DC until I start
getting
the
congressman paychecks. Yeah.
And then someone spotted her wearing heels and a skirt that were of some
And a jacket or something like
that were some. Listen, Ross sells name brands for less. Maybe she shopped there. I don't know.
She did say it was off the rack, so
Yeah. So, but just there was an accusation that for someone who can't afford to live in DC, she sure does have some nice duds.
yeah.
By the way,
The same argument you hear when people are just like these millennials talking about
avocado toast.
Yeah, or like they all have cell phones. It's like because if I didn't, I would be.
What would I do?
Yeah, what would I do? Like, you made me have to have this. Yeah, the text. I just like this one because it was a funny play on it. Hill Staffer sent me this picture of Ocasio-Cortez they took just now. I'll tell you something. That jacket and coat don't look like a girl who struggles. That was the tweet.
Yeah, share the picture. Share the picture.
the one I retweeted
Yes.
was not Ocasio-Cortez, but Gritty.
Gritty. By the way, Gritty, who is the leader of the proletariat.
I love that, by the way.
I am so glad he's been co-opted. He's co-opted by the left.
I like when things like Gritty becomes the figurehead of the proletariat, and then the Flyers have to do this thing where it's just like,
Listen, no.
Gritty doesn't have political beliefs.
He's just a fictional character. You have to. Somebody in the Flyers is like, "Are we really going to do this? Are we really going to do this?
Are we gonna go strong on this?
Do we don't? Maybe we just let it burn itself out. Wait, what? Okay, in front of a guillotine. All right, so we need to put out a statement of some sort. I can't. We can't have it.
Or maybe we just make a shot for shot remake of Colin Kaepernick's Nike ad, only have Gritty instead.
Oh man. So the first story was about
People
her clothes.
say that you don't believe in your dreams.
The first story was about her clothes, which, by the way, is rude. You would never hear Donald Trump probably wore like $7,000-$8,000 suits.
Yeah.
Not once did you hear anybody saying anything about the cost of his suits.
Right.
And they probably
Or-
should have, because they probably weren't as valuable as he would have said they were. If somebody had said, how much does that suit cost? He would have said, I don't know, $1 billion? They'd be like, I don't, that doesn't seem
Or
right.
at any point you could have probably said like, hey, where was that suit made? And you'd be like, Italy? And it's just like, oh, not in America, huh? Not a good suit makers in America for you, Donald?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a story came out just today, which, frankly, it made me laugh, and then I got angrier the longer that. By the way, 105 points in this Monday Night Football game. Damn, 105 points, total points. So, story today that
Not 105 points for Jared Goff, which would have really helped me out of jam.
would have helped. That. It was by MSNBC, and they said that Ocasio-Cortez shouldn't have a problem moving to D.C. because at her age, 30 years old, she should have savings of between $3,000 and $30,000. In fact, as an emergency fund, she should have 1 year earnings.
Yeah.
And based on her previous jobs, this is how much she should have in savings. And I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. And I said, hi, MSNBC. You are way out of touch.
I always like when I have a conversation with somebody who doesn't like completely understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I think I've had this discussion with my dad before where I was just like, I'm running a restaurant. I'm making $16.50 an hour. He's just like, $16.50? Isn't
The king's sum.
He's just like, doesn't a restaurant manager usually make like $80,000-$90,000 a year? It's like, yeah, I mean, back in the day, I guess perhaps it might have happened, but
Maybe now.
nowadays,
not so much.
no, not so much. And then
See, I reacted to the wrong direction because my dad, when I told him that I was like getting a bump from $10.50 to $12.50 an hour, was like, "Woo, you're gonna be on Easy Street now, huh?" I'm like, Dad, I know you bought your first house for, I don't know, $2,700. It's a little more expensive than that now. His first job, I think he told me, was $3 an hour.
Yeah.
And he was getting paid way above minimum wage.
But the thing that a lot of these people don't recognize is how much inflation has gone up.
Yes.
Like $3 an hour, yeah, a point where you could have bought a house for $2,700. So put that one out a little bit.
Yeah.
Same thing with like college education and such. Like, you know, if a house cost $2,700 back in the day and it costs $850,000 now, it's not quite the same when you go from $3 an hour to $14 an hour. It's not like you're going to be able to bridge that divide with the extra $11 an hour.
Another thing that happened this week that we didn't discuss, but I want to bring up. So there's a program that if you work in the public sector for 10 years,
Oh, yeah, I saw
student
this.
loans get forgiven.
Yeah.
And I know people who are in year 6 or 7 of their public service because they're counting on their student loans being forgiven. And apparently 80,000 people applied. 96 were approved by the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So they're basically saying, no, we're not going to honor the system that we started. So the Obamas started this thing, but we don't agree with it. So we're not going to do it. So I feel really bad for all of my friends who
Who are now almost a decade in on becoming like a teacher in an inner city school just to pay off their student loans.
Or working for the public defender's office,
Yeah.
or working for the prosecutor's office, which, by the way, you're garbage anyway. But like they sacrificed. I was working in private practice, and I always used to joke about how much more money I was making than them, which probably wasn't true. But nonetheless, and they got all those days off and like sucking on the government teat and all that stuff. But their retort was always, yeah, but 10 years, I'll have all my student loans paid off.
Yeah.
Then I'll go into private practice and it'll be gravy from then on.
And then I'll be easy street.
Yeah.
And I'll have 10 years of experience as a lawyer.
Right. And you're going to have to keep paying off those loans for the next 45 years.
Or more.
Well, it turns out, guess what? We're both going to pay off those loans for 45 years. And I luckily upped my life insurance. So if I do die through accidental purposes or accidental means, my parents aren't stuck with that bill. So it'll get paid off. Anyway, but I just had to laugh when MSNBC is saying that this woman who is running from the deep left, not the far left, I'll call it the deep left, doesn't have the savings to go and live in D.C. until she becomes a congressman. And it just makes me think, like, how out of touch are the people at the network? Are they purposefully out of touch? Or are they just, maybe they don't really know what's going on?
I think that maybe somebody had originally brought up the idea of it being an article worth writing.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, that's ridiculous. And then somebody heard that somebody thought it was ridiculous and said, let's run it because that means everyone's going to share this thing and talk about it. And there's going to be 2 idiots on a podcast who go back and forth about like what we wrote in this article about Ocasio-Cortez. Like,
yes.
It's dumb. And, you know, personally, I don't know about Ocasio-Cortez yet. She seems a little bit too left for me. And a little bit unrealistic for me. Much like when we've talked about other people of her ilk, Bernie and Ben Jealous and people like that.
Oh, listen, I understand. You like your socialism of the national kind. I understand it completely.
I would say this though.
That came to me like a little too easily. I really appreciate.
I will say this, regardless of any politics here.
Yes,
got a little bit of a crush on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a cute girl. What can I say?
First of all, she's a grown-ass woman.
Yeah.
How dare you call her a girl?
She is a cute woman. Is that better? Is that more like
No,
it?
I don't think that's better.
No, I'm just
Let me look at some images here. Let's see. Let's judge her completely on her looks.
completely on her looks.
The dimples are good. I'm a sucker for dimples. I think it's
The smile and the big eyes and
yeah. And, the left-leaning, at least on the surface, politics.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not saying that to minimize her or anything like that. I'm just saying that in addition to her being an elected congressman, I think she's kind of cute.
And I'm not saying that I'd send her to the guillotine. Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe she's one of the ones who survives.
Maybe. Let's see how
At
far
least
left she
she's
is.
trying. At least she's doing something.
Yeah, I feel like her and Bernie are on the short list of... listen, we can only kill 400 of the members of Congress. We got to pick out 95 that stay. Well, let me tell you who's not on that list. Nancy Pelosi, not on that list. Chuck Schumer, not on that list. Ocasio-Cortez, she's left enough.
We'll see.
Bernie Sanders, Jeff Flake, I mean, maybe because it looks
I'm
like
gonna-
Jeff Flake is going to be a huge pain in Trump's ass for the next 2 years. So
I'm going to. Well, Jeff Flake's out, but
Jeff Flake's out.
yeah,
Did he get beaten?
no, he said he wasn't running again.
I know, but he's still in for 2 more years.
No,
That's no. Wait.
yes,
Wait.
Jeff Flake's seat went to Kristen Sinema.
Are
Or
you
Kirsten
sure?
Sinema. Yes, Jeff Flake is done in January. Jeff Flake.
So the first
I like-
image that
I like-
pops up.
I like how Jeff Flake out on a Google image search comes up with Jeff Flake and I'm with her.
I'm with her. I don't see anything that says. I don't see anything.
Yeah, like look at when his term like because he said he wasn't going to run again.
Yes,
And that
when
was for
is Jeff
this year.
Flake's seat up. 2018.
Yeah, it's Kristen Sinema.
How about that? I did not realize.
Yeah, so he's going to spend the next
I thought she was running. Oh wait, was Flake in?
because it was Flake and McCain,
Yeah.
and McCain's seat is up in 2020.
Right.
So
Oh, and
they
they put
somebody in his
Fucking
seat.
God, of course they did. Of course they would. Instead of keeping the senator that they have, and running somebody else, they would appoint.
Well, you
someone
can't
to
just
fill.
add 2 more years to Flake's.
No, but you could vote for both of them. You
Yeah.
could have both senators up.
I think they would make the argument that by the time McCain died, there had already been a primary. There had already been people who were running and stuff.
Take the
like
top 4. Top 4 runoff. Let's do it.
I mean, I don't really care. I would have been fine with all that. I just I don't know. Just you wouldn't complain. Here's the thing. Like, again, this all goes back to the same issue. You wouldn't complain about it if it was your party. Like if
Well, there's not many communists in Congress.
when Flake says that he's going to leave, or when somebody puts a Republican in McCain's seat, you're like, God damn it, they should put that seat up for a vote. But when somebody puts a Democrat in Franken's seat, you don't say like, oh, they should have a
No,
vote.
I
immediately.
100% said that. Because what I said is, let Al Franken run for a seat again. If the people put him back in, then clearly they don't care that much.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, that is what we should always
I
do.
mean,
We should have an
that's
election.
essentially what happens with like recall elections here in
Yeah.
California, which
And I mean,
happen more
again,
often than not.
Here's what I put in the caption of this week's episode. CalExit is looking better and better. Yes, let's do it because California, for whatever it's worth, knows what they're doing. A recall election is essentially we have a problem with this person. Let's put it to a vote again.
Like, wouldn't it be great if we could recall Catherine Pugh?
Yes, wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Instead of giving her a full 4 years, we're like, okay,
Yeah.
clearly you lied to us during this election, and it's been 8 months. We're going to recall you. And
Or a
wait.
recall to what's her to Trump or something like that would be nice.
Well, I think the president, as much as I hate to say this, I think
Yeah.
the president needs a full term. But somebody like a mayor, where you're like, listen, you're about to appoint a police commissioner, and you said the process was going to be open, and you are about to put your police commissioner through approval at the city council, we're going to recall you.
Yeah.
Because we already can see that this process is not open, and I don't want your appointment to get started. So
Yeah.
Let's
we
put
don't
in
we
the
don't want to
recall
be
now.
on the hook for the next 4 years of this guy's salary when we
Yes.
fire him in 3.
yeah, so let's recall
Months.
you right now, recall you, and we'll do another vote. And I think that for most elections, California allows recall for everything, literally everything,
Yeah.
up and including the governor,
Yeah.
which is how Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor.
Yeah, because Gray Davis was recalled.
Yeah. Now, but again, I think that maybe governor is a bit much. Maybe president is a bit much. I think you need to give the chief executive a little leeway. But it's also, I think the number of signatures you would need to recall the governor is a matter of like, it would take some time to get those together. So maybe that's the check and balance. I don't know. All I'm saying is CalExit 2019. Let's do this. We can do the California Republic way better. And maybe Ocasio-Cortez will move out to the West Coast and we can put her in
She
our
could be
Congress.
new mayor of Los Angeles.
I don't really care. I would like to have her in the Congress for the Republic of California. Make Ruth Bader Ginsburg the honorary Chief Justice of the court here.
By the way, if everyone's enjoying our Nancy Pelosi, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez conversation, you need to watch the Our Cartoon President Election Day special
I forgot
because
to
there
watch
was lots of good stuff in that.
that. Yes. The outcome of the election, just to wrap up let's do a fire round or a lightning round here for 2 minutes. Outcome 2018, still not clear. We do know that one race in Georgia is settled, but not no concession, but the race is settled.
Yeah, Stacey Abrams took the unusual tact of burning the whole thing to the ground on her way out.
Good.
And in this exact election where Brian Kemp is now going to be governor, but was responsible for who got to vote.
Yeah.
And how, I heard this argument, and I found it to be very valid in this case. Either Brian Kemp is specifically trying to keep people from voting in this election to benefit himself, or he's horrendously terrible at his job of managing elections.
And should he be made governor?
Yeah,
if
you're so horrible at your job that a million people are thrown off the voter rolls or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And lines in Democratic districts are 4 hours long, and there's not enough working voting machines, and you're deputizing people to decide whether or not a signature that you wrote on your registration matches the one that you just wrote on your ballot.
Yeah.
All these things, to me, seem to indicate that either you're doing it on purpose or you're horrible at your
Yeah.
And where do you get to be horrible at your job and then get a better job? That's the...
And P.S. Everyone gave me shit when I said, your voting doesn't really matter. It doesn't really count. Entire swaths of Florida, votes are thrown out.
Yeah.
So they didn't meet deadlines. Votes are now being challenged. There's a court case about do entire counties' ballots continue to count, or are they just going to be thrown out in a recount? Welcome to America in 2018, where the same rules apply that applied at whose line is it anyway?
Points are made up and the game doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say this though. In regards to
the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah.
Rules are made up and the points don't matter.
If Brian Kemp is going to have a very interesting beginning, because a lot of people don't go into office with tremendous strife against them.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump did, but that was kind of different. But Kemp is going to have an interesting time, bridging this whole thing together. And I wonder what I think Abrams was pretty much planning for the next election.
I don't
assuming
think that,
she wasn't going to run for something bigger than governor of Georgia.
I think that he steps down. I don't think he serves an entire term.
Oh, you think that?
I think that there's going to be a lawsuit, and during discovery, some shit's going to come out, and he's going to step down.
I mean, it's all these things are part of Records Acts and stuff like that. Any email you send as Secretary of State immediately gets archived and stuff like that.
Yep.
In most states, I assume Georgia is
Georgia's real bad on releasing records.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying I imagine Georgia is in line with 80% of the states that have some sort of...
No.
Well, okay.
It's real hard to get records in Georgia. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But part of a lawsuit...
All it takes is one recorded conversation of him saying, I don't... obviously, black people are not going to vote for me, so let's get as many black people off the voter rolls as possible.
And that's it.
For you to have to resign in disgrace.
And so...
or just push through and say, fuck it. I mean... That's the Trump model.
That's the Georgia race, and rinse, wash, and repeat for about 9 other races across the country, where Republicans won based on some sort of voter fraud on another. I did in closing that Andrew Gillum was part of the documentary on the 2000 election, and then is now having a recount of his own.
Yeah, but he conceded.
Yeah,
and so did Bill Nelson.
No, he pulled back his concession.
No, but they both conceded again.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
See, I haven't been following.
Because it's done.
I thought they said it was within the 0.25 and they were going to do a hand recount.
Yeah, and they did, and some of the votes didn't count anymore.
Right.
But the
ones your vote doesn't matter.
But the ones that had counted prior to the recount, so they counted the old total, and there was still too big of a divide. So I mean, I think that Bill Nelson went from 12,000 votes away to 10,000 votes away after the recount had been done.
Mm-hmm.
So
the recount that already threw out thousands of ballots,
not thrown out, accepted totals. I mean, it is thrown out in a sense, but I'm saying if you're making a legal distinction, it's not like those votes don't count. It's that whatever the count was, whenever our last deadline was reached, is the total we're staying with.
Yes, but votes were not counted.
Right. They were not counted again.
There are Americans who cast a vote
Yes.
because voting is so important.
Right.
And God help me for telling you not to vote because voting matters, but their votes didn't count.
Yeah.
Welcome to America. And it's again, this is Florida, where the national election is occasionally, held.
But there's going to be all these former felons who get to vote in Florida. So
Yeah.
that'll be an interesting take on that.
A twist, I
Yeah.
suppose.
See what happens.
And a bunch of states are doing same-day registration, same-day voting
Mhm.
now. So, yeah, making it easier to vote.
It's-
But again,
That's a double-edged one for me, though. Because, I mean, like, I like the idea that, like, you can register the day of the election. I like the idea that you can mail in ballots and stuff like that. But then you get a situation like California where it's 2 weeks after the election and we still don't know who won some of these races
Mhm.
because you have to wait for all these things to come through. I would rather there be a little bit more like California is the one end of the spectrum,
yeah.
and like you have to be registered 5 months before the election and show up at a polling place is the other end of the spectrum. I'd like there to be somewhere in between those 2 points.
How
as
about
opposed
this?
to
Let's get rid of the whole damn system. The whole damn
Just
system is corrupt.
vote by popular
Let's
voice?
Get everything
Get
out.
Post Malone to be a senator out
Wait,
of
wait.
Texas?
I'm gonna throw out a plan. It's a little out there. Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
You make me benevolent dictator just for 18 years. Just 18 years, and I promise I'll turn it all around, and we'll have free and fair elections in the 19th year of my reign.
And
I
Baby
promise
Cheek
you.
will reign supreme at that point.
No, God knows I don't want children now. I'm not going to want children then. It'll probably
saying-
be
I'm
a
saying
successor of some point.
You adopt some some young gunner.
Yes, sure.
You're-
Not somebody named
you're-
Gunner, though, because I hate kids named Gunner. I would make him
Gunner
change his name if it
Cheek.
was Gunner. Oh. But no, 18 years, I'll fix everything. I promise. There'll be a little bit of bloodshed, a lot of guillotines, but everything will be better on the other side. I will drag you kicking and screaming to the finish line, and in the end, you'll thank me.
All right. Well, speaking of being dragged kicking and screaming, you know where you can find more delicious content?
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com. Corey to OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, at LegendCB5 on Instagram and Twitter, and Corey Baker Film on Facebook. Not sure what the review will be this week. I'd like to go see a movie tomorrow, though, if you're up
Sure.
for it.
Sure, we can.
So we'll find something. Aquaman's coming up, though. That'll be
Aquaman.
fun. Yeah. See Vinny
Aquaman.
Chase.
Yeah, sure.
Vinny Chase live in the flesh. Yeah, that's it for me.
Reviews coming. Okay, and of course, you can find more from me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks, as you see right there. RobertNCheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
Thanks. Not participating. I know I said 2 weeks ago I was doing NaNoWriMo.
Mm-hmm.
Did not work out. So I'm approximately 20,000 words behind. So I don't think I'm going to make that up. But my goal over the Thanksgiving Day break, vacation that I have, is to edit something that I already have, because I do need to get a book out by the end of the year. And we are fast approaching that deadline. So
Yeah, we're almost a month away from the end of the year.
yeah, but you and I were making book covers on the 22nd of December last year, so might just be that again. But yeah, so keep track of RobertNCheek.com and me on social media for more from that.
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
William Goldman died. Inconceivable.
Sad. I just want 1/10 of that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like 10 times
I
more
would just like
people to-
one Princess Bride.
I want 10 times more people to know who I am, but 1/10 of the success would be happy with it. That's all I ask for.